Good afternoon, everyone. I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. The day after, I was going to put this video out. Potentially it was going to be on Christmas Eve when I had most of the information, but I decided to wait till the day after just to not taint or make the conversations on Christmas dinner a little bit different with this type of information and discussion. But I do believe it's important to get this out to you before January 1st because some things do change. And the topic of this video is going to mostly focus on severance and just all the different numbers and factors to think about. But before I get into that, a few different reminders. Our Winter Solidarity Party is going to be on January 18th. And while I know there hasn't been much to celebrate, I do believe, and the union still believes, that it's important for us to get together, to be able to see one another again, the people we used to see, our work families and whatnot, and bring your families, bring your kids. There's going to be fun and food there for everyone, as well as a bunch of other things. So I just encourage all of you guys, if you can, to attend. It's going to be January 18th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I hope to see all of you guys there. We also have two other scholarships. I'm going to butcher the name here, the A.F. Kojatinsky Memorial Scholarship, the $5,200 one. That's available now to start applying for, and then the $2,600 Vocational Career Scholarship. These forms are at the Union Hall. I believe Kyle has them in ICD. Kim has them up front as well. It explains who is eligible, who is not, and how to apply. And there are some deadlines. The Memorial Scholarship, which is the larger one, has February 28th deadline, and then the vocational has an April 30th deadline. So if you're interested, you have kids that would be able to qualify for these, I encourage you to look at them and then apply and help them on their careers. I believe the other thing is the employees that are, I think we had 19 that were under 2 years of service. I still feel for all of you guys, as the sub pay ran out on November 24th, as well as your insurance. I will say there are still active discussions with Cliffs on trying to extend those benefits. That is still ongoing, but at this point, just being realist, I would not plan on that. And so I know that Kim had reached out to most of you, if not all of you, with the Minnesota Care paperwork. And it also has the AEOA contact information there. I would encourage you guys to sign up for this, go through all the benefits that are available to you. You guys pay taxes, and these are for such a time as this, and these programs are there for you. And losing your insurance for these reasons are a qualifying event. So I encourage you guys to get on this as soon as possible. The discussions with Cliffs are now separate, but as of where they're at right now, I don't feel like I want to give false hope to say that we're going to be able to successfully extend those to the 19 of you guys that we're not quite at that limit yet. So I apologize for that, but I hope that you guys can apply for this. And if you have any issues, please let Kim know, let me know, and we'll try to assist you to get healthcare for you and your family. Now, the biggest discussion, I want to start out by saying I apologize for those of you that were caught off guard with the severance text just a few days ago. This topic has been discussed for the last couple of months with different individuals, but also at the most recent union meeting, which is just for everyone else. It's the second Thursday of the month. And if there's a change, we'll send that change out to you. But that's when our union meetings are at. We discussed this option at the union meeting, but I want to send this out to you now because there's some of you that are in Arizona, Wyoming, Montana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, all over the place. And so what I wanted to tell you guys, and my intention is that we're still figuring this process out. There's nothing to really tell you guys, and there wasn't anything to really discuss until we reached the 6-month mark. And so I apologize for those of you that got this text and thought that all of a sudden something had changed at Minorca, that we were closing down, that now we're all getting severance packages and whatnot. That is not the case. It's just this portion, an option in our contract, did not become available until we were on layoff for 6 months. And there was a few different things as I've been reading through, familiarizing myself with this contract and this language. I realized there was a couple of things that I had gotten wrong. And one was the actual payout amount. I had talked at the union meeting and I had said that every year after 15 years of service was 2 weeks of vacation. It is only one. The 2-week kicker is only for a permanent closure. We are not a permanent closure. We're temporarily idled. And so our lump sum is going to be, according to the contract, 1 year of vacation for each year of service for the totality of your years of service. And to qualify this, you have to be on layoff for 6 months. And this is other than voluntary. So if you're on one of the individuals on a VLO right now, and there is no job right now for you to come back to, that's something that you'd have to initiate that process to not be on a voluntary layoff at that point. But for the most part, for those of you on voluntary that have wanted to stay on voluntary, this option does not apply to you. But for the rest of the people that have been laid off and there is no job to go back to at this moment, you qualify for a severance package option. And I think got this in the email, there's an actual form now that Cliffs has, and I can send these to you via PDF. They're going to be here at the Union Hall as well. But the simple thing to do is basically contact Dan Vidmar, let him know you want to initiate severance, and I would suggest doing it through email, just so there's a timestamp, so there won't be any arguing when you want to do that or not. For those of you that want to do this option and don't have this form yet, but you want to get it in before January 1st. And the reason why we're talking about January 1st is because our severance option is based off of your vacation rate of pay. Our vacation rate of pay right now is the highest that it will be for those of you that worked a lot of overtime. So if you worked a lot of overtime in 2024, your vacation rate of pay is going to be on that secondary portion on vacation when it talks about it for 2% of your W-2 earnings, and then factor that into the weekly benefit and factor it into the hourly benefit. So your 2024 vacation rate of pay that is paid out to you in 2025 is most likely going to be considerably higher than our 2026 vacation payout. But as I was looking at the language and I was actually doing all these numbers, I almost had something slip by me. And when it comes to our vacation for next year, it is going to be based at our regular rate of pay and not our base rate of pay. I had done numbers for you guys, labor grade 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 at just your base rate of pay. And what I mean by that is your hourly earnings not factored in incentive. So, and I did it at an average of 15 years of service. So if you had a 15 years of service next year and you wanted to initiate this option after January 1st, I had done the math. Let's say at labor grade 3, 15 years of service would equal $20,592. But I was wrong on that number because that number does not factor in incentive. And your vacation rate, our vacation rate next year for our weeks of vacation we have earned is going to be at our regular rate of pay and go into the vacation formula through that and not our base rate. So I am now going to have to go back and work on those numbers, but it is going to be higher than that. It's probably not going to be as high as our 2024 rate because some people's vacations are $60 an hour, some are $50, some are, $49, something like that. It isn't going to be quite that high, but it isn't going to be at your base rate at 30 for labor grade 3, 34, 32. Labor grade 4 now is 36.12. Labor grade 5 is 38.37. And so those numbers are going to be a little bit higher than, let's say, 15 years of service at labor grade 4 at your base rate of pay is $21,672. Severance option for you, a lump sum paid out to you. That is actually, I think you add the incentive to that number is going to be higher. It's going to be probably close to 30,000, something like that. So if you want to add that to that number, these base numbers, maybe get you a little bit closer. I apologize. I literally just had this. I was talking to somebody earlier and I realized that I had gotten this wrong, that this is not at your base rate of pay. It's at your regular rate of pay. And so our vacation is going to be not at your hourly rate, which is a good thing. It won't be the 2% of your W-2 earnings, most likely, because we didn't work a full year, but at least it won't drop off the map and be at the very base option of pay. So I'll work on that. I'll try to get numbers out to you. I can send them in a PDF form. But one thing I want you all to consider when you're considering this option, that you are completely severing ties with Minorca, that you will not have an option. You won't get a call back. If you want to come back when we fire back up, you would have to reapply and start from the bottom. So I just encourage you guys, if you're thinking about this, to really pray, think, talk to your family, do the numbers. And I apologize that I didn't have the numbers here for you, but that's in a good way, because our severance options in 26 aren't going to be as low as I initially anticipated based off of the rate of pay that they'll be calculated on. But this is what the form looks like. Basically reminds you you're severing ties. You click this option, and once that's signed and done, it's done. Some of the things I want you guys to consider, and I wrote a lot of these down, is that if you have over 10 years of service, you get 2 years of subpay. And at the way our subpay language reads, it's $250 a week for 2 years. And so I just did the math. As of December 31st, we'll have used 30 weeks. If you started getting subpay immediately, we'll have used 30 weeks of subpay, so that you have 74 weeks of subpay left. And if this layoff goes 2 years, you're going to have $18,500 in sub paid out to you over that course of time, which is almost half of what the severance option is. Plus, which some of you are working at MedTech, some of you are working at a job where it has good health insurance, it already pays well. This other point might not be a factor for you, but 52 weeks of single person healthcare is around $97,344. That's how much your health insurance is costing. So a family, it's I think $2,400. So it's even higher than that. It's, that's got to be over close to $110,000 for health insurance being paid out to you. For those of you that that isn't a factor, these numbers may not mean anything to you, but for everyone else, I just want you to factor this in to your decision. I hope you do. The number, it looks like a lump sum right now, but for those of you I want to address that are on unemployment, this will absolutely affect your unemployment. If you initiate severance before our extension runs out, it will immediately affect it. So if you're on unemployment on subpay, I would encourage you to really think hard about this option. I would encourage you to wait. But if you're at another job and your situation's a bit different, you already know that you're not coming back to Minorca, you've already decided that, then this option to you is potentially a benefit. I do want to let you guys know, and I mentioned this at the union meeting, that I am already starting to work towards getting prepared to go down to St. Paul and get us another extension for the remainder of 2026. I'm going to be meeting with the company. We're going to be working together with other unions. It's going to be a collaborative effort to get down there and express exactly why this is necessary to ensure that we are able to come back safely, to maintain the rest of us that are waiting for that callback to be able to wait and have a financial stability to hold us here while we wait to come back and not have to leave, because our extension for most of us is going to end at the end of May, early June. And at this point, if we get called back at the end of June, we're still going to have 3 weeks that we're going to need to have covered of pay there. So we are gearing to go down to get another extension. And, session I think starts around February. And so my intent is to go down there after meeting with the company to get concrete data from the company about any sort of timelines. I mean, we're already 7 months into this layoff. We're going to be close to 10 months now, and go down there and ask for the state to extend these benefits to hold our workforce here so that we don't have to move. Because as that extension runs out, as subpay starts to run out for those under 10 years, it's going to be a decision time for everyone in May. But I want that to be factored into this decision as well, if that's a deciding factor. We will be going down. I can't promise outcomes, but I will promise you that our union will fight to get this extended for all of us that are waiting and are relying on this benefit to stay up here. But some of the pros for taking a severance is your 401k will be released to you. It will not be tied to the company. Your retirement years will be frozen there. There won't be any more SPT contributions or anything like that, but you take those years with you. It's a big decision, and I implore all of you to truly, truly go through all of the data. I will have more numbers for you, but if you factor, I think, incentive to these numbers for next year, it's going to be, for labor grade 3, it's probably close to $30,000. Labor grade 4, and this is at a 15 years of service lump sum payment, just as an example. labor grade 4 is going to be a little over 30,000 potentially, and labor grade 5 is, maybe $35,000 lump sum paid out to you. And that's at 15 years. I just want to make that clear. Some of you have 12 years, some of you have 20 plus years, some of you have less than 10, like myself. I want you guys to have this option and know that this is there to you. I also apologize again that it caught a lot of you guys off guard. Our status has not changed. The company has over and over again reassured not only me, but the international that Minorca will be coming back. And as you look at, and as I've communicated with the Dearborn president, some of the presidents down there at the steel mills, that there's going to be a need for our pellets. We have blast furnaces that are down. We have a furnace that's not at full capacity. They're realigning. We have the Stelco option that adds some more nuance to this, where they're feeding it with Mintac pellets. But if that contract doesn't get renewed, then that's 4.5 to million tons of pellets, around that number, that's going to need to come out of Cliffs facilities. And as of right now, with Hiptac being shorted down to one line, and that will be their future, there is no other option aside from resurrecting 2 dead lines up at North Shore, smaller lines, and then ours as well, just to feed those numbers. And adding Stelco, Dearborn not taking pellets right now, some of these other mills that are lower, about to close shipping season soon, that surplus is going to continue to get eaten away. And just with the stuff going on in 26, Federal Reserve rates, all this stuff is factoring. We are an asset to Cliffs. We will continue to be that. And at some point, they will have to start us back up. And I really hope that all of us come back. And if you take this option, then they will not be calling you back. You'd have to apply to come back at the bottom. If you're at Mintac or at some of these other places and you want to stay where you're at, then this option may be something that you want to look at. And I wanted to get this out because for some of you that worked lots of overtime and your vacation rate is $66 an hour or something like that, that option may be smart to take it before January 1st. You've already decided, and whatnot, but your vacation rate of pay, your hourly rate, let's say at a labor grade 4, factor an incentive to that, it's around 42 or something like that an hour for your lump sum, and that's $20 difference. But I just want you guys, and hope that all of you guys can think about this option and decide what you want to do. I will be available, and I apologize that it's been just always playing catch up, getting back to people and trying to take care of their issues. But for this issue and the timeliness of it, feel free to contact me, contact Dan Vidmar to talk about it. You don't have to. Talking to him about it doesn't mean that it's going to guarantee that you're taking it, but just to get more numbers for yourself from what the HR records have for you to make a more educated decision. But feel free to talk to me at any time about this. I'll try to make myself available to come down to the Union Hall and talk you through what numbers are, what you can figure and whatnot. But once again, just please think about this option. Just because it's an option doesn't mean it's like a good one. It just means we've been laid off for now 7 months, and this portion of the contract is available for those that want to move on. So I once again, I'm sorry that this is right after Christmas, and also I'm sorry, I'm just seeing it's 18-minute long video, that this video is so long. But for those of you that are entertaining this and want to know more about it, I hope this has been somewhat informative for you. But ultimately, for those that are still watching, ultimately, Minorca's status hasn't changed. We are an asset to Cliffs. I want to reiterate that. I've heard all the rumors, from the bentonite rumors to, equipment here to, railroad this and all that stuff. I don't have anything that's concrete that can confirm or deny some of these rumors. But one thing I do know is that in my communications with the company and with the international, that Cliffs is completely aware of the asset that Minorca presents, and that when we do come back, it's going to be a considerable amount of investment into Minorca for the long term. And with that investment coming into Minorca, it's just going to continue to incentivize them to keep this going for 20 years plus. So I do hope that factors into this for all of you, that coming back, once we do get that call back, it'll be, Lord willing, for the long term, just considering the amount of investment we're going to get into our facility and how they're going to expect a return on that, and we will provide that because I'm biased, but we have the best workforce and the best facility on the Iron Range. So I hope all of you consider this. Hope you have a happy new year with your family and had a good Christmas, and I hope to see you guys all at our solidarity event on January 18th.